Imagine this scenario. Your longtime friend calls you in distress, desperately needing financial help for what they claim is a genuine emergency. Your heart sinks, not because you can't help, but because this is the 5th emergency this year. Each time you've offered support, each time they've promised to change, and each time they've returned to their old habits. The Stoic philosophers warned us about this very situation centuries ago. As Seneca wisely observed, sometimes our help can harm those we intend to help. Today we're diving into a topic that many find uncomfortable: the art of saying no to those who don't deserve our help. This isn't about being unkind, it's about being wise with our energy and resources. The ancient Stoics understood that helping everyone indiscriminately isn't virtuous. It's often harmful both to ourselves and to those we think we're helping. In this video, we'll explore 8 types of people that the Stoic philosophers would advise us to think twice about helping. These insights aren't just ancient wisdom, they're practical tools for modern life, helping us preserve our energy, maintain our boundaries, and ensure our generosity truly benefits those who deserve it. 1. Do not help ungrateful people. Let's start with perhaps the most soul-draining type of person: the chronically ungrateful. These people have mastered the art of receiving help without ever acknowledging its value, treating your kindness not as a gift, but as their natural entitlement. Consider Amy, who recently needed help moving apartments. You sacrificed your entire weekend, postponed important plans, and even injured your back carrying her furniture. Her response? A quick thanks text, followed immediately by requests for help unpacking and shopping for new furniture. No acknowledgement of your sacrifice, no offer to compensate your time, not even a coffee as appreciation. The ancient Stoic Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about gratitude, considering it not just a courtesy, but a fundamental aspect of character. When you arise in the morning, he advised, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Yet the ungrateful person takes all these gifts, including others' kindness, as mere expectations. What makes these people particularly toxic is their subtle way of making you feel petty for expecting appreciation. Why are you keeping score? They'll ask. Or, I thought friends help each other without conditions. They've perfected the art of turning their ingratitude into your moral failing. The Stoics remind us that gratitude is not just about saying thank you. It's about recognizing and honoring the sacrifices others make for us. When someone consistently fails to do this, they reveal a fundamental flaw in character that no amount of help can fix. 2. Lazy people. Let's address those who have elevated avoiding effort into an art form. These aren't people who are temporarily overwhelmed or genuinely unable to help themselves. They're individuals who have made a conscious choice to let others carry their burdens. Think of Mike from the office, who's been claiming he'll learn the new software system for over a year. Every deadline brings the same helpless look and familiar phrase. You're so much better at this than me. It would take me hours to learn what you can do in minutes. It sounds like a compliment, but it's actually a sophisticated form of manipulation. Seneca had strong words for such behavior. It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that things are difficult. The lazy person inverts this wisdom, making things appear more difficult precisely to avoid daring to try. What makes them particularly frustrating is their cleverness in avoiding work. They'll often expend more energy creating elaborate excuses than it would take to actually complete the task. Their creativity in finding ways to avoid responsibility would be admirable if it weren't so destructive. The Stoics teach us that personal growth comes through facing challenges, not avoiding them. By helping these people circumvent their responsibilities, we're not just enabling their laziness, we're actively participating in their personal stagnation. 3. Irresponsible people. Let's talk about one of the most exhausting types of people you'll encounter: the chronically irresponsible. These aren't people who occasionally make mistakes or face genuine hardships. No, these are individuals who live in a constant state of self-created chaos, treating every consequence of their actions as an unexpected emergency that others must help them solve. Think about Sarah, who never pays her bills on time despite having a well-paying job. Every month, like clockwork, there's a new crisis. The electricity's about to be cut off because she forgot to pay the bill. Her rent is overdue because she didn't realize it was already the end of the month. Yet, somehow, her Instagram tells a different story, full of expensive restaurant meals, new designer clothes, and weekend getaways. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, would have particular disdain for such behavior. He taught that true freedom comes from taking responsibility for our choices and their consequences. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters, he wrote. The irresponsible person, however, refuses to acknowledge their role in their own disasters. What makes these people particularly dangerous to help is how they turn their irresponsibility into your emergency. That deadline they've known about for weeks suddenly becomes your late-night crisis. Their unpaid bills become your moral obligation because they don't know what else to do. They've mastered the art of making their poor planning into your urgent problem. Marcus Aurelius offered wisdom particularly relevant to dealing with such people. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. In this context, the best response to chronic irresponsibility is to maintain your own standards of responsibility while refusing to be drawn into their chaos. The solution isn't to simply abandon these people. That would be against Stoic principles of human connection and compassion. Instead, we must learn to help in ways that don't enable their behavior. Remember, true kindness sometimes means allowing people to experience the discomfort necessary for growth. 4. Manipulators. Now we enter more dangerous territory. Manipulators are the chess players of human relationships, always thinking several moves ahead. They don't just ask for help, they orchestrate situations where you feel compelled to offer it. Consider Emma, who never directly asks for what she wants. Instead, she'll carefully plant seeds of guilt, dropping subtle hints about her problems, while praising how strong and capable you are. "I wish I could handle things as well as you do," she'll sigh, before mentioning her mounting difficulties. By the time she actually needs something, you're already primed to offer help. Marcus Aurelius warned us about such people when he wrote, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it." In the case of manipulators, the consequences of falling for their tactics can be far more costly than the discomfort of saying no. These people are experts at making you question your own judgment. If you hesitate to help, they'll remind you of past favors or imply that your reluctance means you're not a good friend. They weaponize your conscience against you, turning your virtues into vulnerabilities. The key to dealing with manipulators, as the Stoics would advise, is to focus on their actions rather than their words. Watch what they do, not what they say. True friends don't need to employ emotional manipulation to receive help. 5. Chronic critics. These are the people who can find fault in every act of kindness, no matter how generous or well-intentioned. They're like architects of negativity, constructing elaborate criticisms out of even the most sincere efforts to help them. Think of Lisa, who asked for help with her resume. After you spent hours helping her refine it, she complained that you didn't use the right font, didn't emphasize the right experiences, didn't make it stand out enough. The next day, she was telling mutual friends how basic your advice was. The help isn't the point, the criticism is their way of maintaining control. Seneca addressed such behavior directly. All cruelty springs from weakness. These chronic critics often mask their own insecurities by finding flaws in others' efforts. Their constant criticism isn't about the quality of help they receive. It's about maintaining their perceived superiority. The most exhausting part isn't just their criticism. It's how they use it to keep you trying harder, making you dance to their tune in an endless attempt to meet impossible standards. The Stoics would advise us to remember that their criticism often reveals more about their character than about our efforts. 6. Narcissists. These individuals take self-absorption to a pathological level. They don't just accept help, they expect it as their divine right. In their minds, your assistance isn't generosity, it's merely proper recognition of their special status in the universe. Consider James, who automatically assumes you'll drop everything to help him with his very important projects. When you do help, there's no gratitude, just a casual, well, anyone could have done that, or worse, they'll take full credit for your efforts in front of others. Epictetus had particular insight into such people. It is impossible for a person to begin to learn what he thinks he already knows. Narcissists are trapped in their own self-importance, making them not just difficult to help, but often impossible to actually benefit. 7. Opportunists. These people are like social parasites, constantly scanning their environment for potential advantages. They don't see relationships, they see resources. Every interaction is calculated based on what they can extract from it. Take David, for example. He has an uncanny ability to resurface in your life exactly when he needs something. He'll maintain just enough contact to keep you as a connection, maybe liking your social media posts or sending occasional just checking in messages. But the moment he needs a job reference or an introduction to someone in your network, suddenly he's your long-lost friend with an amazing opportunity to discuss. Seneca saw through such behavior centuries ago. Some people make friends for their own advantage. These friendships are temporary and exist only as long as they are useful. The opportunist's kindness is always an investment expecting returns, never a genuine expression of care. What makes them particularly dangerous is their patience and planning. They're willing to play the long game, making small deposits of attention or minor favors, all while keeping detailed mental accounts of what they can claim in return later. 8. Envious individuals. Finally, we come to perhaps the most toxic category, the envious. These are people who might accept your help, but secretly resent you for being in a position to offer it. Your generosity doesn't inspire gratitude, it fuels their bitterness. Consider Rachel, who asked for career advice and networking connections. As your suggestions helped her advance, instead of appreciation, she grew increasingly hostile. Each success became proof in her mind that you were showing off or trying to prove you're better. Your help became ammunition for her resentment. Marcus Aurelius offered profound insight into dealing with such people. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. The envious person turns assistance into ammunition, but we must resist the temptation to respond with similar negativity. What makes these people particularly toxic is how they can poison not just their own relationship with you, but also your reputation with others. They'll often spread subtle criticisms, suggesting your help was self-serving or manipulative, attempting to taint the very act of generosity itself. The Stoics remind us that envy is a confession of inferiority. As Epictetus noted, it is impossible for a person to learn what they think they already know. The envious person's refusal to acknowledge their own role in their circumstances makes any help you offer not just useless, but potentially dangerous to your own well-being. Remember, identifying these 8 types of people isn't about becoming cynical or withholding help from those who truly need it. It's about being wise with our energy and resources, directing our generosity where it can truly make a positive difference. As the Stoics taught us, true wisdom lies not just in knowing when to help, but also in knowing when to withhold help for the greater good of all involved. As we've explored these 8 types of people who don't deserve our help, it's important to remember that this isn't about becoming cold or uncaring. Rather, it's about being wise with our generosity and protecting our capacity to help those who truly deserve and benefit from our support. The ancient Stoics understood something profound about human nature, that helping others is a noble act, but helping indiscriminately can cause more harm than good. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, the first rule is to keep an untroubled spirit. The second is to look things in the face and know them for what they are. Looking things in the face means recognizing when our help is being exploited, when our generosity is enabling destructive behavior, or when our good intentions are being twisted against us. It means understanding that sometimes the kindest thing we can do, both for ourselves and others, is to say no. But how do we maintain this balance? How do we stay generous without becoming victims? The Stoics offer us 3 key principles. First, examine the intent behind requests for help. Is someone genuinely seeking to improve their situation, or are they looking for a temporary bailout from self-created problems? Second, observe the pattern of behavior. Do they show genuine gratitude and effort to change, or do they return with the same issues, expecting the same help? Third, trust your instincts. That uneasy feeling when someone asks for help isn't always selfishness. Sometimes it's your wisdom warning you about potential manipulation or exploitation. Remember, your time, energy, and resources are precious. They are finite resources that should be invested wisely, not squandered on those who would abuse them. By being selective with our help, we maintain our capacity to assist those who will truly benefit from it. As Epictetus wisely said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Let your choices about whom to help reflect your values and wisdom. Be kind, be generous, but also be wise." The next time someone asks for your help, take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, will my help truly benefit this person? Or am I enabling behaviors that will ultimately harm both of us? The answer to these questions will guide you toward being not just a generous person, but a wisely generous one. Remember, true kindness sometimes means saying no, and true wisdom often lies in knowing when to do so.